Welcome to day 1 of my Christmas in July crafting series. Today I'll be making 3 crafts using vintage spools. For craft number 1, I'm using a medium-sized vintage spool and I am going to be removing the paper. I can't quite get it all off with my hands, so I am going to use a little bit of sandpaper. It is totally okay though if I can't get it all off because I am going to be painting over it with some Americana craft paint, so it's okay if a little bit of paper still remains. And of course I'm going to be using my favorite color, Santa Red, and after getting it all nice and painted, I'm going to be bringing in these iridescent glass ornaments that you can get every year at Hobby Lobby, and these are the smaller size. Now inside there's several of these, so it's great if you want to make lots of these ornaments, and I have actually already filled them with what I'm going to be using for this craft. All you have to do is remove the top of the ornament and add some colorful pom-pom balls because this is going to be a little gumball machine. I've also seen this craft where people have used colorful wooden beads, but I prefer the pom-poms over the beads, and all I have to do is put some glue around the hole of the spool and glue the ornament to the top. And the very last step to this ornament is just adding a little ribbon for you to hang it from your tree. Now, of course, you could also use a Christmas hook, but I found this really pretty red ribbon with a silver outline, and I thought it was perfect for this craft. And here it is. I mean, quick, simple. I don't know if you could get anything easier than this one. For ornament number 2, you're just going to use another wooden spool, and I've already removed the paper from the top and the bottom, and I am going to be painting over this one again. And I'm using a nice kind of sandy brown color, white, and this does look black on camera, but it's a nice dark brown. And I'm just going to tell you right now what it is. One day I was looking at a spool and it reminded me of a s'more. And I don't really know what made me think of that, but I thought that center part is a giant white marshmallow. The top and the bottom is the graham cracker, and then you could have like the chocolate right around the top of the spool. So of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm painting this middle part white because it's going to be the big fat marshmallow, and then I decided to paint the top and the bottom the sandy color. Now I felt like at first it was a little bit too pale, so I did darken it up a little bit, and I'm also going around the edges so it looks like a nice graham cracker. Now this is where the fun part comes in, the nice drips of the chocolate. I really like doing this, and this paint was so nice and thick. I only had to paint over it one time, which was great because usually I have to do multiple coats. But this was a super fun part for me. I love making all of the wiggles because it doesn't have to look perfect. I mean, it's dripping chocolate. And just for fun, I added just a tiny bit of a wiggle, like the marshmallow is just starting to kind of melt around the bottom of the spool. And to give it a little bit of a more graham cracker texture, I added a darker color to the top, just kind of stippling it on top because it still wasn't looking very graham cracker to me. It was looking kind of flat. I'm now painting a really simple and cute snowman face, and if you are not a painter, don't worry, the next craft involves zero paint, so stick around for that one if you're not really somebody that enjoys painting. After finishing his cute little smile, I just needed to add the string to hang it from the tree, and so it wouldn't slide all the way up through, I did add a little rusty jingle bell to the bottom so it can make a little jingle on your tree. I think this ornament turned out super cute and unique, and it does look like a s'more, so I'm happy with it. For craft number 3, you actually get to keep the paper on the spool, so it does have more of a unique and vintage look to it. I am going to be wrapping some scrapbook paper though around the middle just to add a little bit of color. And by the way, if you do not have access to vintage spools, they do sell normal wooden spools brand new in the craft section of places like Hobby Lobby that are in the wood craft section. So if you don't have any vintage ones, it's totally fine. You can go buy brand new ones. I then wanted to wrap a pretty little bow, so I absolutely love this ribbon. I use it all the time. It's like the perfect plaid, and I just did a cute, quick little bow right in the middle. And by the way, this craft is not even a Christmas ornament. It's just going to be something cute to sit around your house. I also went through my stash of buttons and found this adorable little reindeer, which I think is going to be perfect for this because it is going to be Santa themed, and I just glued that right in the middle of the bow. Now I'm using a dowel rod. These are originally 12 inches long, but I am going to be cutting it down because it was going to be way too tall. And all I have to do is put some glue inside the hole, and it's the perfect fit for this dowel rod. And this spool makes the perfect base. It's nice and big and sturdy. You don't have to worry about your project falling over. After I glued it into the spool, I then started decorating the top with this beautiful sparkly snowflake I also got from Hobby Lobby, and I used the same paper that I wrapped around the bottom of the spool to cut out a circle, and I'm using these scissors. I call them silly scissors. I actually have no idea if that's the accurate name, but they're just scissors with a really fun pattern. And these tags I've had for the longest time, but I've never quite known what to do with them. And looking through them, I found the perfect one. Of course, it had to be for day 25, Christmas. It is Santa Claus, so I cut it out, and that is going to go in the middle. I first glued down my green circle, and then I bumped out the Santa with some craft foam and added a little bow underneath. And this is actually the finished product, and I'm going to show it to you the best I can. My camera can't quite fit it all in the frame, so zooming out, that is the top, and there is the pretty spool as the base at the bottom. And I'm planning on making several of these at different heights for my craft show, and I think it is super adorable. I loved how it turned out. Tell me in the comments down below which one's your favorite, and don't forget to come back tomorrow for episode number 2 of my Christmas in July craft series. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.